To your knowledge, did the SPLC include Antifa, which is an actual domestic terrorist organization in its hate group?
The SPLC does not have a domestic terrorist list. We have a list that identifies groups based on the statements that they and their leaders make.
Is Antifa on your hate map?
If you've looked at our hate map, you know the criteria we set for designating groups. One designation is when a group expresses, vilifies, demonizes individuals based on immutable characteristics. The second is a group that expresses anti-government conspiracy theories.
So destroying pregnancy resource centers and Catholic churches would not qualify as hate under your definition? You guys are okay with that?
Burn down a Catholic church, not a hate group. Hold a Christian rally, hate group. That is literally the Southern Poverty Law Center's position, and a congressman just forced them to admit it live on camera. Rep. Gooden walked into that hearing room with one mission: expose the SPLC's hate map for exactly what it is. Alliance Defending Freedom, hate group. Turning Point USA, hate group. Family Research Council, hate group. Antifa, not on the list. Jane's Revenge, the group that publicly claimed responsibility for torching pregnancy resource centers and Catholic churches across America, also not on the list. Gooden stared down the SPLC president and asked the question nobody could dodge. How does destroying a Catholic church not qualify as hate under your own definition? The SPLC president's answer? Their criteria focuses on groups that demonize people based on immutable characteristics. Gooden's response was surgical. So the immutable characteristic of being a Christian does not count. Got it. Before the next segment, if this kind of raw, unfiltered accountability is what you have been looking for, hit subscribe right now. This channel delivers exactly this every single week. Gooden then did something nobody in that room expected. He looked the SPLC president dead in the eyes and said, "I would actually like to ask you to add me to your hate map. I would be honored to be on it. It sounds like I would be in great company." The room went silent, because he was right. The SPLC's hate map has become a badge of honor for every conservative Christian who refuses to be silenced. Then came the bombshell that should alarm every American regardless of political affiliation. During the Biden administration, the FBI's Richmond field office used SPLC material to draft a memo classifying certain Catholics as racially motivated violent extremists. The FBI later apologized. As Gooden pointed out, people do not apologize for things they did not do wrong. Jordan then pressed the SPLC on whether their own informants were encouraging attendance at hate rallies. The SPLC president deflected repeatedly. Jordan's reaction said everything. Wow, that makes absolutely no sense. Here's where America actually stands right now. An unaccountable nonprofit with no clear criteria labels Christian organizations as hate groups, then feeds that information directly to federal law enforcement agencies who use it to target Americans for their faith. That is not fighting hate, that is weaponizing it. And Rep. Gooden forced them to admit it live on camera in front of the entire country. What do you think? Is the SPLC still credible after this hearing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and share this with every Christian you know.
Mr. Fair, during the Biden-Harris administration, the SPLC included many mainstream conservative groups in their hate map, including Alliance Defending Freedom, Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA, and Family Research Council. To your knowledge, did the SPLC include Antifa, which is an actual domestic terrorist organization in its hate group?
Congressman Gooden, just for the record, the SPLC does not have a domestic terrorist list. I'm not sure what Dr. King was referring to, what list she's referring to. As I understand, she's on none of our list. We have a list that identifies groups based on the statements that they and their leaders make.
Is Antifa on your hate map?
Again, as I said earlier, Congressman Gooden, it's my understanding that the FBI has said—
So they're not.
Antifa—
Let me ask you this. Has SPLC labeled the radical left group Jane's Revenge as a hate group? This group has publicly taken responsibility for vandalizing and destroying pregnancy resource centers and Catholic churches since May 2022. Have you all designated that on your hate map?
Congressman Gooden, if you've looked at our hate map, you know the criteria we set for designating groups. One designation is when a group expresses, vilifies, demonizes individuals based on immutable characteristics. The second is a group that expresses anti-government conspiracy theories.
So destroying pregnancy resource centers and Catholic churches would not qualify as hate under your definition. You guys are okay with that. But God forbid Turning Point holds a rally. That's considered hate, but destroying a Catholic church or a pregnancy resource is not. Just to be clear, help me understand.
No, Congressman Gooden, the SPLC establishes its own criteria, and any other group can create its own list. Under our criteria, we've designated those groups based on what they've said.
Under your criteria, Turning Point USA, Family Research Council, and other conservative Christian groups are considered hate groups. But Antifa and Jane's Revenge that burns down Catholic churches and pregnancy resource centers, those are not hate groups. It sounds like you're really proud of that process. I'll move on because I frankly think it's disgusting. And you know what? I'd actually ask for you to add me to your hate map. I'd be honored to be on it. It sounds like I'd be in great company. During the Biden-Harris administration, the FBI's Richmond field office relied on information from the SPLC when creating its memorandum that categorized certain Catholics as racially motivated violent extremists. Do you believe that Americans practicing their Christian faith and exercising their First Amendment rights are violent extremists?
Congressman Gooden, the SPLC doesn't identify any group based on religion. We too believe in religious liberty. We identify groups based on the statements they make, that their leaders make, based on their activities that target various groups.
Well, many of these statements are based on religious beliefs. So I'd take issue with that. Let me ask you, were your donors informed of your partnership with federal agencies under Biden-Harris administration? Did you let them know that you all were working with them?
Congressman Gooden, the SPLC has worked with every administration since our founding to advance racial justice and equality in this country. We believe our donors and supporters support all of the work that we do.
So funding radical racist groups is something that your donors are on board with. I have a hard time believing that. Mr. Jordan, I'll yield the balance to you.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Mr. Fair, if you're trying to stop hate, why would you encourage people to attend a hate rally?
The SPLC doesn't encourage people to attend hate rallies, Chairman Jordan. And if you're referring to any allegations in the indictment.
Well, I'm just asking in general. I'm not saying it's one thing. You've said you've had informants, you had field sources. If you have informants and field sources there, that's one thing. But the indictment says that these informants and field sources were encouraging other people to attend these hate rallies. Right. And I'm saying, okay, so you don't have to answer that specifically, but is that a good thing in general?
Again, all the allegations in the indictment,
do you wish,
Chairman Jordan,
okay,
will be addressed.
Do you wish you hadn't have done the program? You said the program was successful and helpful, but now you're stopping it.
We stopped the program because we believe hate and extremism has migrated significantly online and into government agencies.
Wow, that's big. That makes no sense. The chair now recognizes.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a UC request, if that's all right.
Gentleman can say his UC request.
Okay. First, asking unanimous consent to introduce this article about whether, in fact, people have been driven from the public square. 2025 was a banner year for Alliance Defending Freedom in their newsletter. And I ask unanimous consent to introduce for the record a report by the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General, which found no evidence of anti-Catholic bias or malicious intent on the part of the FBI personnel who prepared the Richmond domain perspective.
Even though they apologized for it?
Well, I've got the report right here from the Inspector General.
Well, we have the apology from Director Wray, so you typically don't apologize for something if you didn't do anything wrong.
Let's submit it to the record and let everybody read both of them.
Yeah, okay. We'll have to submit Director Wray's statement as well.